Hello there and welcome to the Liverpool versus West Brom preview on the 27th of December. Now, before I get into this video, please do be aware that I'm recording this one on the 23rd of December because I don't want to be recording on Christmas Eve and also Christmas Day and Boxing Day and stuff like that as well. I want to kind of chill out a little bit and relax, and I hope that you guys are doing the very, very same and enjoying yourselves as well, as much as you can in this festive season. Anyway, let's get straight into this preview here, and obviously we're coming up now. It's not a Slaven Bilic West Brom, it's now a Sam Allardyce West Brom, and every club that Sam Allardyce has been at is such a frustrating club to face every single time. The more time he gets in, the more frustrating they get to be able to play. So when they play against us, he'll have been there for about 2 weeks. So either they're going to be a bit more defensively solid, which is what you expect from an Allardyce team, or they're just going to be a bit more physical, a bit more aggressive, giving fouls and, picking up yellow cards and stuff like that and being all over your players all the time and maybe getting some wins here or there because, West Brom, Sam Allardyce himself, I don't think he's ever been relegated as a manager. He's always been the messiah of saving teams from relegation. And he always manages to get his team somehow a bit more defensively solid, really, really frustrating to play against, and they basically become, a bigger amplification of his own personality, which is he can be very obnoxious, he can be very sarcastic, and also very, very irritating, definitely for the manager that's in the other dugout as well, and he just makes his teams like that on the pitch as well, really horrible to play against sometimes. And I'm hoping that he hasn't had enough time to do that against Liverpool, but we will see what happens. Now, having a quick look at the table, you're seeing two teams that are at different ends of the spectrum right now. You have West Brom that are in 19th position on 7 points, 3 or 4 points away from safety, and you've got Liverpool that are top of the Premier League with a 4-point lead on Leicester, and we're doing pretty well at the moment, scoring goals, being creative, and we're top of the league for a reason. Definitely, 100%. Now, in terms of injuries, we should, fingers crossed, have some good news in some respects. Whether they return to the starting lineup or the bench, we should be able to let's say that sentence again. We should be able to call on the likes of James Milner, Xherdan Shaqiri, and most notably for a lot of people will be Thiago as well. Now, Thiago hasn't featured since the Everton game, and he was man of the match in that game as well, and he was excellent against Chelsea when he played his 45 minutes in that game as well, and that's the only times that we've seen him because of the injuries that he was given in the Everton game near the end. So it would be nice to see these guys come back in. I don't expect them to be brought back into the starting lineup, that's not what I expect whatsoever, but to have them as bench options, man, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to go through my lineup of what I think the lineup could be on the day. Whether we use some rotation here as well, because 3 days after we play against West Brom, we play against Newcastle, and then 3 days after that we play against Southampton. And then I think our next game in the league after that one will be against Manchester United. We've got the FA Cup in between that one. I think it's the 8th of January or somewhere around that sort of time. So whether we use some rotation in these games or not, I don't know. But I'm going to go with what I think we will use in the West Brom game. Not necessarily disrespecting the fact that they are so low in the table and they are a misperforming team. But they do have some creative players, West Brom. They do have some players that can cause you problems. The issue for them is keeping goals out of their net. So as long as we can sort of pile the pressure on and, as I say, put the pressure on them, put the ball in the back of their net, then we should be okay. Now, for me, most of the changes would actually come in the defensive area. So we're going to go with Alisson in goal for this one, purely because he's an absolute beast and I love him and I think he'll be in goal for this one. We come to the right-back area and I'm going to go with Nico Williams in this one. I think he might come in for this one. Trent might feature against Newcastle and then probably will feature again against Southampton as well. But I think you see Nico Williams on this one. I think it'll be Andy Robertson or James Milner if he's back fit, depending on what, if they do want to rotate, because I don't think Tsimikas is, I think he's still going to be injured and he's expected to be out until February, which is the same prognosis for Jota as well. So you could see Robertson, if Milner's fit, you could see Milner, depending if they want to give Robertson a rest. We don't know what they're going to do. We have to wait and find out. But I'm going to go with Andy Robertson on the left-hand side. And then for this one, I'm going to go with, do I go with a partnership of Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, or do I go with one with Fabinho? I am going to go with... it will be Nat Phillips and Fabinho in this game. Reece Williams will probably feature in another game, like maybe even against Newcastle. I don't think they would do a partnership, or I don't think we will do a partnership of Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, just in case something happens to either one of them or both of them in one game. You know, I know we've still got Matip as well, but I think Matip again could be one that maybe gets rested for like the Newcastle game and Southampton and such like that as well. So that's my back line. Back line was Nico, Andy Robertson, Nat Phillips and Fabinho. We then move into the midfield, and as long as everyone's fit and firing, I have absolutely no problems with it being Gini Wijnaldum, Jordan Henderson and Curtis Jones. I like that midfield. I think it's a great midfield. It's a hard-working midfield with the creativity, energetic runs and the energy, pure energy that Curtis Jones brings to the field. And then you've also got the exact same sort of dynamism with Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum, but it's more in terms of work rate, getting that ball back, working it forward, helping each other out, helping up other positions as well. I like that midfield. I think that's what I'm going to go with, so I'm quite confident in that one. Yeah, that's good. I like it. Anyway, now we move into the front three, and I don't think I see any reason to not put Salah, Mane and Firmino in. They all seem to be fit and firing at the moment. They seem to be clicking a hell of a lot as well, scoring goals, providing for each other as well. I'm a fan of it. The only other changes that I could possibly see here is if somehow Origi comes back in after the whole like deletion of LFC mentions on any of his bios on social media, or if something's going to happen there. Maybe it could be a last hurrah for him. If Shaqiri's available, then maybe Shaqiri could come in for one of the front three as well. Also got Oxlade-Chamberlain, who can play in a forward line, but if we are going to use Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'd much prefer him to be used in the midfield if we do that. But I also wouldn't want necessarily for Oxlade-Chamberlain to have a starting position at the moment as well, just because he's been out for quite a while. It's probably better to get him some minutes from the bench to sort of build himself back up into match fitness. Other options that we've got on the pitch could be Naby Keita as well, and I'm a fan of that as well. If they want to take that, you know, say either rest Gini Wijnaldum or, you know, God forbid, rest Henderson, because he's such a machine, but he's such an integral cog to the Liverpool machine. It's very hard to rest him. So I don't know, maybe someone can come in there. But for me, it's going to be Alisson, Nico Williams, Andy Robertson, Nat Phillips, Fabinho, Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, Curtis Jones and Mohamed Salah, Mane and Firmino. And I think that's what they could go here. I genuinely think the only changes could be like Shaqiri and Oxlade-Chamberlain coming in, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. I'm just going with what I feel. Maybe Liverpool want to lay down a bit more of a marker against West Brom in terms of attack, and be pretty solid at the back as well. So that's what I'm going with in terms of, you know, personnel, lineup and such like that as well. I don't know who is playing who over Christmas apart from Liverpool. So I don't know if we're going to get, like, I know Chelsea are playing Arsenal on like Boxing Day or something, which could really cement Arsenal like right down there. But it could also give Chelsea a boost. Chelsea are, you know, sitting fifth at the moment, and it's really, really tight between like 10th position and third. Like there's only 5 points in it. Like it's really, really close. It's you know, it's almost like when you go from Wolves in 11th and I'll go up, the points are 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 26 and 26. Leicester on 27, us on 31. It's so tight. Things can change in a week. Like the whole picture. Like you look where Tottenham were. Tottenham were top of the league before they played us. 2 games later, they're 6th. Things can happen very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. You go from top of the league to being in the last remaining place for the qualification for the Europa League. Things change so quickly in this league, and I think it's going to be like this all season. I really think it's going to be like this all season anyway. What do I think that West Brom are going to pose in terms of danger to us? My answer to that is I don't really know. Because the last game that I watched, or half of it that I watched before I fell asleep, not because it was boring, but because it was that time of night, I had to go to bed. But I'm not sure what they're going to bring under Sam Allardyce. I know he's very, very angry at Jake Livermore for getting sent off in one of their games. I'm not sure who. Yeah, he's got a red card suspension. So, he's got a couple of players out, Townsend, Robson Kanu, Bartley and Field, or he's a doubt, if anything, and so is Kyle. I don't even know what the names are. Anyway, I don't know their first names. Don't know them on a first name basis. We're not that close. So, yeah. But he's very, very angry and possibly looking to move the captaincy on from Jake Livermore to someone else. So, yeah, I don't really know what they're going to bring in terms of style. They had a fairly good footballing style under Bilic. Obviously, Sam Allardyce is going to come in and ultimately change that. He's probably going to want a target man up front and then have people be able to play off him like Diangana and players like that. I don't really know their personnel all too well, to be honest. I think the only impressive performance that I've seen from them, I think it was 3-3 against Tottenham earlier in the season. And I think, now I can't remember this exactly, if West Brom were 3-0 up and Tottenham came back from 3-3, or if it was the other way around. But regardless, that's a pretty impressive result, and it does show that if they want to, if they're up for it, they can put it on a team. You can't give any length of rope to any team in this league, because I still fully respect every single team that when they come up against Liverpool or they come up against someone else, they are going to absolutely try their best. It just depends how good their best is when they come up against a big team in the top six. The one thing that teams lower in the league have against a team like Liverpool is you're never going to get us trying to hold possession and just keep the ball away from you. We're going to try and hunt you down, and we're going to try and put that ball in the back of the net as viciously as possible. That's what Liverpool will do. So Liverpool will always look to attack and find a way to attack. And whether that means that they have centre-backs on the halfway line or just below, and you've got Trent and Andy Robertson on the outside of the boxes looking to put crosses in the box and get them on, likes of that. And you've got the midfield that are pushing up as well, trying to get the ball back or trying to keep control of the ball. As soon as they lose it, most teams are going to try and just catch us on the counter. And it depends on whether someone like Diangana, or if they've got someone with pace, then I don't know. They will maybe try and catch us that way, but I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what Sam Allardyce's West Brom are going to bring after like a week or two's work with them. But regardless of that, I'm not going to say, obviously Liverpool beating Crystal Palace 7-0 doesn't change how I give predictions. I predicted we would win against Crystal Palace 2-1. Felt it would be a much tougher game. Crystal Palace were a tough team in the first half, especially faded after we scored about 4 or 5 goals, and who wouldn't? You're not really going to get a comeback, like that. The only one that I remember that when we scored loads of goals was when we played the 2 legs against Roma, and I think we actually lost. I think we lost the second leg, but won the tie, which put us through to the final in Kiev. Less said about that, the better. But I'm not going to disrespect West Brom and say we're going to pace them 5-0 or anything like that. I never truly believe. While I believe in my team, I don't believe anyone's going to get a pasting like that all the time. I really don't. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Liverpool in this one. I do think that we can keep a clean sheet here, and we should be looking to keep a clean sheet as well. I'm not sure whether there'll be enough work for Sam Allardyce to have had a big effect on the team right now, but I could be proved wrong on this one. I'm confident with, if I go with that lineup that I was talking through, I think that we can get the victory here and get a 2-1 win and hopefully keep our, distance at the top of the table just at, at 4 points at least, if not a little bit better. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below about this game. Let me know who you think is going to be starting. Your lineup could be completely different to mine. That is totally fine as well. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. Please do enjoy the video. If you have enjoyed it already, I don't know. Have you enjoyed it? Let me know it in the comments below. Kind of got that wrong anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here. See, there it is. That's what I was meant to say. Thank you ever so much. Do take care of yourselves, and I will catch you later.